What's going on, guys? You know what it is, Coach Colin podcast, the podcast that is for anybody who feels like they're not expressing their true selves, hitting their full potential. That's it. Today we're talking about soul, like have you ever felt like you're doing something that is the right thing? It's the thing that you should be doing, you know? Yeah, in my case, it was like a job, like a 9 to 5. But you wake up every day and something's just telling you that this is not it, you know? Like you're not supposed to be doing this. It feels like, if everything seems like, based on what you've seen in life and everybody working and doing these jobs and just going for the thing that makes the most money so they can sustain and just live. It feels like you're moving towards that and that you should be, but there's something telling you that that's not it. There's something telling you that you're supposed to take the thing that's the long shot. And it feels so counterintuitive to go towards the long shot, to go towards the thing that won't make as much money, that you think won't make as much money, that you think will be a harder road. It makes like no sense to go towards that thing. But there's something deep inside of you that's saying that that's the thing, that's the way. Yeah. That's what I'm going through right now, or that's what I went through. I just quit my job. I had a job as a HR, like headhunter, recruiter. And everything in me just keeps telling me it's the wrong thing to be doing. And that I have certain talents when it comes to this, sharing myself, exposing myself emotionally for people in hopes that they're able to do the same or relate in some way and unravel something that's going on in their life. You know, to the one-on-one coaching that I do with people, helping them do exactly what I just said, you know, become their higher version of themselves, a better version of themselves. It's not the way that makes the most money. Like, you see this shit. I'm not Mr. Beast over here, you know? But something just pulls me towards doing this instead. It's going to be a hard road, but my wife supports me. And my family supports whatever I do. And that's all that's important. For anyone else that's listening to this, you may not have a wife that supports you. You may not have a wife at all. That's okay. You may not have a family that supports you. That's okay. The main thing is, if you have that deep thing, that's deep inside you that's saying that you need to go towards that thing, and you know what the thing is, that passion, that whatever. If you have that feeling, you have to listen to that thing. I really do think that our job in this life, I was just saying this to my friend, our job in this life, our soul tells us we're meant to do what our soul is meant for. And our job in this life is just to listen the fuck up, because our soul tells us very subtly what that thing is. It says it in pieces, and it says it very faintly. But we're supposed to move towards that. And the more we listen, and the more introspective we get, and the more we embrace our actual talents, our natural abilities, our natural likes and wants, the more we do that, the more we'll be able to hear and see what it is that our soul's trying to bring us to. And I think that's all we're meant to do in this life. It's funny, I was listening to Earl Nightingale, I listen to Earl Nightingale a lot. If you listen to a lot of these videos and you listen to his stuff, you'll notice that a lot of what I'm saying is stuff that he said decades ago. But I also know that he was like a guy that wore a suit and glasses, and he's kind of boring to listen to if you can't get past it. Sounds like a teacher. Sounds like Ben Stein. You ever watch like Ferris Bueller? He's like Bueller. Or you ever hear like Lex Friedman? And Lex Friedman's like, today we're talking to somebody who I've admired for a while and is a very good. It's fucking terrible to listen to. Terrible. Shout out to Lex, but just boring. It's like boring and drunk at the same time. It's crazy. But I know people can't listen to Earl Nightingale, so I kind of retell things that he said already. I kind of repackage it in a cooler form. I'm cool as fuck. Can't tell me any different. But but he says that the guy who's doing his 9 to 5 and is like content in that and just works that job every day versus the guy who is going after his dream, going after the thing that is like pulling him in, the thing that he knows that he's meant for. He says out of those two guys, the actual one that's taking the risk is the guy that's working the 9 to 5. He's actually taking a dramatically steeper, deeper, more of a risk than the guy who's going after his dream. And when I say that, it's so counter. It's so counter to what we've been taught. But it's so true. That guy who's just working that job day in, day out, that guy's taking a big risk. Because more often not in jobs, what's meant to happen is we're supposed to learn everything that has to do with that job. We're supposed to learn a little bit outside of the lines of that job, just a little bit, so we can support upper management a little better. And then we're supposed to just work that job. We're supposed to hone those skills, sharpen those skills that are made for just that job. And we're supposed to just do that over and over and over again. And that's a huge risk, because actually when you're doing that, and I'm just having this thought now, I didn't think of saying this before, but it's a bigger risk because you're kind of sitting back saying the world, you're taking a risk of saying that the world is going to stay the same. And what I'm doing now, I will always be able to do until I retire. And what I do now, I'll be able to do not only until I retire, but they also won't replace me at all. Also, technology won't advance enough to where this job's not needed. Like, you're taking a lot of big risks when you're just doing that one thing. And then the guy who's like following his dreams, well, that guy's learning new skills all the time because he has to. You know, he's not running a huge business, maybe not right now, but he has to learn all the facets of business. He has to understand a little bit of accounting for his taxes. He has to understand sales. He has to understand marketing. He has to understand advertising. He has to understand the actual value proposition that he's bringing, whether it be product or service. He has to understand that through and through. And then he has to understand other people. Then he has to understand, if he's B2B, he has to understand how other businesses work. He has to understand a lot of different things. And he has to understand them at a pretty high level in order to get the business and to make the business. So in order to understand the business that he's trying to build, let's just go away. He has to understand a lot, which means that his skill set has to grow quite a bit, which means that even after, God forbid, that his dream isn't actualized, he comes away with such a vast understanding of not just some other businesses, not just his own product and service, but he comes away with a vast understanding of the world. And that's not risky, because that will surely put you in a good place eventually. If you keep doing that, it'll either put you in a place where your own business and services are working well, or it'll put you in a place where you understand businesses so well that you're able to help somebody else build a business. It puts you in such a better place. Anything that puts you in a realm where your skill set has to constantly expand and expand and expand will eventually put you in a very, very good place. So it's not as risky as it seems. But yeah, if you feel like your soul wants out of what you're in right now, listen to it. It's hard and it doesn't make sense, because the how, and man, everybody from people who do psychedelics, shaman, just random friends, religious people that I know, spiritual coaches, everybody always talks about how you're not going to know the how. And I'm telling you now that you're not going to know how or why, but you're gonna have the little feeling of this isn't right. I'm not saying just jump out the window, quit your job with nothing. I'm not saying that, but if you have that feeling right now, start looking into other things. And if you know what that thing is that you'd rather be doing, you have to start. Listen to your soul, because when your soul's out of alignment with what you're doing, your heart's out of alignment with what you're doing. And when your heart's out of alignment with what you're doing, there's an anxiety there that you can't explain. There's a stress there that you can't explain. There's an uneasiness. There's a dreadfulness that develops. There's a soul-sucking thing that starts to begin. So get in alignment with what your heart and your soul are saying to you. And I hope to see you in a better place. All right, that's it for the podcast. I'm out. Peace.